Okay, this is a special meeting of the Fairfield Economic Development Commission on October 8th. It's now 8 a.m. This is Mark Barnhart, Director of Community Economic Development. On the call, I have Commission members Don Peterson, John Slavin, Steve Rosado, and Chairman Kevin Lesko, as well as Recording Secretary Gretchen Gerthner. It's 8:30 a.m. Is there anyone else joining today's call or on the phone?
Hi, Mark. This is Rishi Narang.
Hi, Rishi. How are you?
Hi, I'm well, thanks.
Okay. Anyone else that I miss?
Hi, Mark. Elise here. Elise Fatherley.
Oh, Elise. How are you? Terrific. We have a full house, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
We do. This is wonderful.
So I'll let you call the meeting to order. It's 8:31.
And I'll do just that. I'll call the meeting to order, and then if we could just step right in and welcome everyone for being here and taking some time today to walk through with what we're doing. And then what I'd like to do is I'd like to have an approval of the minutes. I hope everyone had an opportunity to see the minutes that Mark sent off to us this past week. Are there any changes, or can we have a motion to approve them?
This is John.
Motion to approve.
Excellent.
This is Steve, second.
Excellent. All in favor? Okay. Very
Aye.
good. I think we're good on that. Mark, do you want to give us an update on the COVID-19 response and reopening plans?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do appreciate this. I realize I could probably send out, and have provided some updates via email to all of you, but I do think it's helpful for us to get together, and I do appreciate the opportunity to share with you some information and get your feedback and answer any questions that you may have so that you're up to date with what's going on as it relates to economic development. So as you probably know, today marks the introduction of Phase 3 of the reopening plan the governor announced a few weeks back, which has some significance for restaurants in particular, as they're able to increase their occupancy limits from 50% to 75%. We still have outdoor dining through at least November 12th. We have been talking to a number of restaurants regarding their plans to provide for outdoor heating elements as the temperatures dip, and we're addressing those requests as they come in. The guidance from the state is so long if the tent, they're in an enclosed area outdoors with a tent or other canopy. If more than two sides are down or representing more than 50% of the area of coverage, the wall area, then it's treated as an indoor space subject to the same occupancy limits as an indoor area, and restaurants would have to still maintain 6 feet of separation between tables, or provide some kind of artificial barrier between diners. I know that was certainly welcome news for many restaurants, the fact that we're moving at last to Phase 3. I think all of you have been paying attention to the data that's being posted in terms of what's going on statewide. We do have seen an uptick in some of our numbers, but that was to be expected with schools back in session, people going more indoors, and some further loosening of some of these restrictions. But so far, we seem to be managing okay. There's been some issues locally with some particularly young people gathering in social settings. And I think the first selectwoman and the public health director and the emergency management team have been trying to address that through messaging. But so far the numbers look good. We're continuing to work with our small business community Don is serving as the EDC rep on our grant review committee. The numbers are pretty much unchanged, although we did receive two new applications this past week. So we're up to 73 applications, of which we've approved 54 small business grants, totaling about $200,000. So we have roughly $55,000 left to commit. The average grant has been around $3,600, and most of those businesses, it's a fairly diverse grouping, many in retail and food service, as well as fitness providers and salons. Pretty diverse group, but many have used it to cover operating costs like rent, utilities, and things of that nature to make up for lost time. A good number of those businesses, roughly half, didn't receive other meaningful assistance from other programs. So this really has been helpful in terms of their being able to keep the doors open and meet their operating costs. And that is, in terms of where we are, I do sit on the planning committee, which meets every pretty much weekly. A lot of the events and activities that we all appreciate and take advantage of in the fall have been postponed or canceled or rescheduled because of COVID. We've done a lot of that calendar manipulation through the end of October. The Halloween on the Green event will not be held this year, which is pretty much par for the course for any large outdoor social gathering. We're trying to be mindful of the public health issues that are out there. So I am hopeful that we'll be able to do something to celebrate small businesses with traditionally this Small Business Saturday after Thanksgiving, and doing some retail initiative in around the holidays. And I'll talk a little bit later about an initiative that we're working with Fairfield Chamber on the community gift card program. And we have a promotion celebrating restaurants, which I'll also cover a little bit later on. But I'll pause here if there's any questions.
Mark, do you have any insight on the surrounding towns and how they have been doing with their, say, restaurants and with their downtown? Do you have anything to compare how we're doing?
Yeah, it's funny you mention that, because I haven't recently, but my counterpart in Norwalk and Westport recently reached out to try to compare notes as to how they're addressing restaurants in particular going into the fall season. We just haven't had a chance to schedule that conference call, but my sense is that we're more than holding our own here locally. I think we're doing pretty well. Most of the closings that have occurred have been at more of the corporate chains, at least the noteworthy ones. There obviously have been a number of other businesses that have had to shutter their doors even temporarily. And then, obviously the cinemas, which I'll again talk when we talk about key development sites later on.
Right. I'd actually be kind of curious if we extracted the businesses that shut down that were kind of positioning themselves to shut down anyways. You pull those out of those numbers. Where's our real number?
I don't think it's going to be that much different than what I've seen in terms of national statistics. I mean, that could change, but I saw information previously that thought 1%. Maybe that's a little. I mean, that was across all business sectors. That would be roughly our experience thus far. I think other parts maybe had more prolonged outages, maybe more susceptible to it. So I think
Right.
I think so far we're looking pretty good. I have gotten a lot of requests for information about our small business grant program. I think we're head and shoulders above, what other communities are doing as it relates to that. So I think we've taken a leadership role there.
Yeah. No, I think that program's been terrific. I really commend yourself and then the members, Don, and the other members and people that have been doing that.
Any other questions from commission members? What are you guys hearing out there?
Just as a reflection, as I look around, I see the restaurants bustling. I really do. And if they're not bustling with people outside and some inside, I'm seeing a lot of takeout. So it's kind of I wonder. I don't want to say how bad it really is for them, but it seems like there is a lot of traffic one way or the other.
I think there still is pretty high anxiety levels as
Yes.
As the temperatures cool and we go in more into fall and winter. Concern about how consumer attitudes will shape their experience and business outlook. So we've had some requests to consider extending the outdoor season even beyond what the governor has set as the limit currently in November 12th. I did ask the state as to whether or not that was a local option. Could we extend it beyond if we had the interest to do so? And it seems that we can do that at our option, although the state indicated they may do something on their own to extend it beyond November 12th. I think what's motivating that is some of these businesses are making some fairly significant capital investments for artificial heating sources and other modifications to these outdoor dining areas, and obviously would like to take advantage of it as long as possible. So,
right.
I think if we can do that, we certainly are apt to do it, just to give people again some options.
Well, and so that actually speaks to next year or the year after. As they're investing in this equipment, maybe as a town, for the zoning standpoint, maybe we need to think about being a little more relaxed, or giving them the signal that as a town we can be more relaxed over the next several years, in order to say, hey, listen, you're investing in this equipment, not just a one and done. We'll let you do a little more next year or the year after, and see how it goes there from that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're actually doing a live experiment right now, and just seeing what the impact is in terms of this additional outdoor dining space and its impact on parking or other things that we typically are concerned about from a land use perspective.
Right.
And maybe those concerns are not as those fears aren't as great as we imagined, and perhaps we can provide for further relaxation to encourage people to utilize outdoor areas for dining.
Mark?
I think it's been good.
Don.
Don.
Can you suggest that anyone that's not speaking mute their phone?
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of feedback, so that would be good. I hear like wind or rustling, so yeah, that would be a good idea. Did everyone hear that? If you could mute your phone if you're not talking. I won't do it on this end. You guys can do it on your end. All right, I'll move on. I just wanted to make mention of a couple other things that we're working on with the engineering and public works departments. So we'll be hosting 2 public information meetings on projects in Stratfield and Southport. The first is improvements to the Stratfield Village Business District, which will be on Monday, October 19th at 6:30, which will be a virtual meeting through Ring Central. I will send out a link to the information to all of you, and you can also take a look at the preliminary design plans, which are available online. So this is a project, as you recall, that's funded primarily through a state grant that our office procured for the town. $650,000 is intended to make streetscape and pedestrian improvements to the Four Corners section of Stratfield, the central Stratfield Village Business District at Stratfield and Cripple Woods Roads, as well as the surrounding approaches. And we've also got additional funding support from not just the town, but donations from Sacred Heart University and the Stratfield Village Association, which is leading a fundraising effort to raise additional dollars for the project. So that meeting is on the 19th of October. The purpose is to really review and get feedback on the preliminary designs before we move to the next phase of design, and with the intent that we would hopefully complete that later this year or early next, and then go out to bid and be in a position to start construction by the middle of next year, 2021. The second meeting is very similar. It concerns pedestrian improvements to a section of Southport along the Post Road from basically the exit 19 interchange to Holt Highway. And again, we did receive some state grant funds for the project, which is intended to not only enhance pedestrian safety, but connections between residential neighborhoods and the business district in Southport. This work is also focused on sidewalks and ramps and curbs and other pedestrian appurtenances. So we're having that virtual public informational meeting on the 22nd of October, which is a Thursday night at 7 o'clock. And again, the meeting will take place virtually on Ring Central. BL Companies out of Meriden is the design consultant on both projects. And that's following a similar trajectory in terms of where we hope to complete design later this year or early next, and move into construction sometime by the summer of next year. So that's it for those projects. I'll send out a link so that all of you who are interested in those projects, if you choose to, can attend. Experience Fairfield. I know most of you are familiar with the tourism website. We did a rebranding and relaunch earlier this year. We did send out notice to a lot of our tourism publications that are regional and statewide to announce the new website, but we didn't do a whole lot of publicity around it locally. So we did send out an announcement earlier this week, or actually last week, and kicked off to help build awareness around the new site. We kicked off a family scavenger hunt, which will run through October 30th. It's basically something that families can do with their children, learn a little bit more about the town in which they live, and they can submit the answers to riddles posted online through the website, and get a chance to win a $25 gift card to support local businesses. So,
Mark, this
I
is
think,
John. I think that's a great idea, and I'd love to see more of that, because as people are coming up here from other areas, mainly New York, and either renting or deciding whether they want to stay here permanently or not, I think things like that for families to continue to encourage is a huge positive. And I've seen
I'm going to have
inflow.
I'm going to give credit to Don Ahrens, who's as some of you know, he's retired marketing executive, lives actually around the corner from the office here has been volunteering his time to help me out, both from the business attraction. He helped launch the Choose Fairfield website, and he's been working on this, the tourism portion of it as well. But he came up with this scavenger hunt idea, and I think it's really great, and it's been really good in terms of driving engagement. There's been a lot of activity associated with it, so I think it's been awesome. So I'm hoping to do something, other types of things like this. So if you have other ideas, feel free to send them along.
I'm just wondering if it's possible to get like the list of kids that have enrolled in the Fairfield schools this year from out of state, to just maybe even target them. Is that something that's doable or frowned upon, like just for privacy and whatnot?
Yeah, I think in our past conversations with the state, with the Board of Ed, it's been, they're okay providing aggregate data to us, but they don't reveal any personal information about their students. Now, we did, as part of this publicity campaign, post something to Peach Jar, which goes out to the school system. And so we get because it's a public service announcement, we got a free advertisement in one of their most recent editions. So that's something we can do to publicize it. But I'll see if we can get some data as to enrollment figures, though. Any questions on either of those things? I know I'm rolling through a couple things here. I did also want to. I mentioned earlier that we've been working with the chamber, and I know Beverly would typically be on this call, but she has an executive board meeting at this time with her chamber board. But this is really an exciting initiative, something we've been working on with the chamber for a little over a year. Many of you who've been in town for a number of years may have recalled that the chamber had a Chamber Bucks program a number of years ago. The intent really is to drive traffic to local Fairfield businesses, and the Chamber Bucks program didn't really operate as a gift card. It was really a check that you redeemed at participating merchants or retailers. It was hard for the chamber to manage, and eventually, it just kind of fell by the wayside. We were looking for a substitute that functions more like a gift card, but is closed. It's a closed loop, so that we can only use the gift card at participating Fairfield businesses, so that you can't get a gift card and then go shop online at Amazon or something like that, which doesn't do anything to help support local businesses through that program. So we did find a couple different examples of this and settle on one that's being run through a group called Yifty out of California. It's a virtual gift card, so you don't get a card, a physical manifestation of a gift card, but you do get a gift card that essentially functions like any MasterCard, and it's backed by MasterCard on your phone. So if you purchase a gift card for somebody as a present, you can send it to them virtually online, which is great, and particularly in this environment where everyone's focused on contactless type situations. So, and from the merchant's perspective, it operates just like any other MasterCard backed gift card. So they would enter in the data into their point of sale system, and it automatically deducts, and they get the money directly put into their account. So we have been holding a series of Zoom presentations with local businesses. The response has been positive thus far. Again, what I like about it is it aligns well with our Buy Local initiative, and so where it's done well in other communities, we've talked to a few in North Carolina and California and other states. is they work with some of their larger employers that may have employee recognition programs to help pre-purchase some of these gift cards. So it becomes a very virtuous circle. So you keep the spending locally within town. And we're hoping to announce this program through a press conference later this month with Brenda's office, just in time for the holiday gift-giving season. And when I mentioned the scavenger hunt, the $25 gift cards for families that submit the correct answers online, we're pre-purchasing 25 of these $25 gift cards for that program to help launch it. So I think it's a great program. It will help the chamber, I think, provide another reason for businesses to become chamber members and preserve their base and help raise a few bucks along the way. But I think this is a great way in which we can make sure that we support our local businesses. And the nice thing about the program too is it has a lot of great analytical tools, so we can get a pretty good idea, a very good idea of how much money we're able to keep within the community. So stay tuned, but I would expect an announcement later this month on that program.
Mark, do you know if to the vendors if they're going to be charged like a debit fee or a credit card processing fee?
Yeah, it works like any other credit card. So they are subject to credit card processing fees, which are in line with what they would typically see with other MasterCard or Visa transactions. There is also a cost to the merchant to sign up, which is how the chamber makes a few bucks along the way. So, but their enrollment is good for a year from date of sign up, and right now to help encourage people to jump into the program, they're discounting those rates 50%. So for chamber members, it's $50 for the year, and for non-chamber members, it's I think $100 for the year. So again, that's a pretty inexpensive way to help market your business to local consumers, and I just think it's a really great program. I haven't seen anything like it. And one of the nice things too will be that, again, this will be an area where the town of Fairfield is leading the pack. I mean, I don't know of any other community that's doing something like this right now, or chamber that's doing something like this in Connecticut. So again, it's a really great tool for helping support our Buy Local initiative and campaign. And I should mention, if you're buying it, if you bought an American Express gift card at Walgreens, you typically, if you want a $100 gift card, there's a fee associated with that. So it's similar here, and that's how Yifty makes some money. So I think if you're a $100 gift card, it's going to cost you like $105 when you buy it. So the person you're giving it to will have $100, but it costs you $105. So it again, the beauty of it is it functions just like any other MasterCard, Visa, or American Express transaction. It's backed by a major credit card, in this case MasterCard, which guarantees that the merchants will get paid right away.
That's great. Does anyone else have any questions regarding that?
Yeah, I wish Beverly was on the call because she could do it much better than me. She's been doing these presentations, but what I like about it is just the overall positioning of it in terms of supporting local businesses.
All right. Okay. Well, if there aren't any other questions, do we want to go to updates on the key development sites?
Boy, are you doing this from memory, Kevin? That's pretty good as you're walking around. Yes. I don't have any major. I think the one area we've been there's a couple sites we've been focused on. Obviously, the Kohl's Shopping Plaza. I did talk to the new ownership over there. As many of you know, Kohl's is closing. They do have new tenants lined up for that site. I don't know if it's been publicly announced, but I don't know if there's any great mystery to it. One of the tenants is going to be a flooring wholesaler that's making inroads into the Northeast. They're Atlanta-based, and the second tenant for that site is an Aldi's a store which has been looking for sites in Fairfield for some time now. We've also been entertaining or talking to the folks, the new ownership at the Joe's American site. They haven't. I don't think they've quite closed yet, but again, it's likely to remain some type of restaurant pad location or potentially multiple food uses for that site. There have been discussion about more intensive development, and I think they're open to that. They haven't settled on it yet, but they seem to be pretty far along in terms of planning for a couple of one or possibly two restaurant locations to take that space. And then across the street at the former gas station, we've been talking to a restaurant that is hoping to go in there. The major issue for that is the fact that, like across the street, it's in although it might be hard for everyone here to imagine, it certainly came as a little bit of a surprise to me, it's in a flood zone. So there is those issues to have to contend with. And then lastly, I would say we've been talking to the folks at the brokers for National Amusements, the Showcase Cinema site over next to BJ's. We've had some inquiries with regard to potential uses for that space, anywhere from performing arts to some kind of warehouse distribution type use to fitness provider. To production, film production, studio type space. So quite an array of potential uses that might potentially go there. They are entertaining offers to purchase the site. It's a good size piece of property. It's roughly, I think all told, almost 130,000 square feet. A good portion of that, 40,000 square feet, actually close to 50 or 60,000 square feet, was not being heavily used by the cinemas when they closed. So potential opportunity, but I would imagine that the capital cost to reposition and adaptively reuse that space are going to be pretty high. So we'll keep you posted as those plans progress. Other questions?
Yeah. I actually had someone reach out to me this past week about the Beach Road development. The
131 Beach Road. Yep.
There we go. So they were curious about traffic patterns of events and things of that nature. And I ended up having a fairly decent conversation with the individual. But can you give me any update on that?
Well, the hearing was continued. I was asked to attend the last hearing by the TPC chair to just talk briefly about the town's efforts to increase its affordable housing stock and inventory and what's been done to date. So I did attend the last public hearing and provided testimony regarding that issue. The issue of traffic and parking and things of that nature did come up, as well as the impact of this development on the historic district. I'm not sure if any of those things are going to be particularly decisive or helpful from the standpoint of demonstrating, some kind of significant adverse impact on public health and safety that would outweigh the need for affordable housing, which is the burden of proof, if you will, for the Planning and Zoning Commission to deny the application under 830G. But those are things they'll have to weigh based on the evidence submitted in the record. They continued the hearing. I think it's on the docket for later this month. And then I believe the applicant has an opportunity to first they'll have an opportunity to hear from the public that's been waiting patiently in the wings. I think a few people have spoken, but there were a number of folks who weren't able to talk prior to curfew last time. And then the applicant has a chance for rebuttal, and then I think the hearing will be closed, and then they'll have to make a decision. It's 830G is one of those things where the burden is on the town to demonstrate that there are substantial interests of public health and safety that outweigh the need for affordable housing, and they can only base that on evidence submitted in the record before the commission. So there's been some anecdotal evidence and discussion about traffic impacts or parking. I'm just not sure it's going to rise to the threshold needed, but that's just my take on it. So others may disagree, and most importantly, I don't have a vote, so that's good.
Yeah, I suggested that they were going to have a very hard time trying to kind of stop it, but from a timing standpoint, developers always love saving time. So if they could convey that they as a neighborhood to maybe embrace it a little more, but for the return of making the building, like put more money into historic look of it for aesthetic purposes, maybe that's what they get out of it.
Yeah, I think the overall design appearance could be improved. It's not, it's very much in the eyes of the beholder. It's very subjective, but I'm not particularly taken by the appearance or look of the building. I think definitely there could be some effort made to improve upon the appearance, for sure.
It's always hard to hide a box.
Yeah, well, especially one that's 4 stories,
five
tall,
stories tall,
5 stories with the parking underneath, right?
Correct. I agree. So, okay. Any other developments that we should be aware of?
Well, we maintain a list of others that I think I don't have any new updates on either Exide or Fairfield Metro. I've talked to the ownership for both. The same with Thorpe Street, 185 Thorpe Street, the former Fairfield Lumberyard site. Would expect those to begin to move forward, but it has from a construction standpoint, in terms of commercial activity, has been slow, I would say, in terms of people pulling the trigger and moving forward with major projects at this point.
Mark, it's Greg. Is there an estimated completion date for the development on Umpqua?
333, the Knights of Columbus site.
Yeah.
I have that into next year. I haven't talked to Mr. Montelli recently to see where he is. I know, like the Trademark Phase 2, Alto Fairfield was looking for a fall occupancy. They're still, it seems, some weeks at least away from a CO, and Umpqua is a little further behind. So I would think we're looking into first or second quarter of next year.
And what about the across the street from me over at Heritage Square? Looks like they're almost done with that. They haven't gotten their CO yet, but they are very close. I checked with Planning and Zoning
last week regarding. I know they're doing their marketing and lease-up activities, so they're accepting applications currently for those units. So I've gotten a number of calls on that. So that should be pretty close.
Okay.
Have they given any indication of their success of the leasing of the applications?
Well, I know the affordable units is an 830G project, a very small one, 13 units. So there's four units there that are affordable, and those they got overwhelmed. They had a lot of interest for that. I think the market rate units, again, they're expensive. They're on the upper. I mean, I had some people questioning that, but yeah, they can charge what the market will bear, and they're on the upper end of what the market will bear. But it's a small project. I don't think that they'll have any difficulty leasing those up. There just isn't a lot of that type of product downtown. So if people really want something like that in terms of lifestyle, that's pretty much what they have to pick from. There's not a whole lot of other units out there.
Well, certainly the success of that place will probably dictate a little bit of what's going to go on Thorpe's project. I mean, if they see a lot of success on Rowan, maybe they'll push forward in stronger fashion on Thorpe.
I think that really seems to be more an issue. I've talked to the Jewish home, and it does seem to be because of the the arrangement there. Still working on finalizing their construction plans and getting financing in order. It seems more internal than market driven. So I think, and again, that's really geared towards an elderly population. So I think once they've kind of got all their ducks in a row, I think they'll move ahead. I mean, but there's a lot of site work that has to happen there. Addressing both remediation issues as well as the fact that they're in a sensitive area, next to a salt marsh and stuff like that. So,
for sure. Any other items on developments, or should we go to other business?
Yeah.
Anyone?
I think I covered most everything that I wanted to cover this morning. I'll certainly open up the questions. I did want to mention that we'll be doing, in lieu of Fairfield Restaurant Week this year, which typically will be held at the end of the third week in October. Just my sense was that given even with the move to phase 3 with continued occupancy limits, it just made it difficult to envision doing a traditional Fairfield Restaurant Week this year. So what we are planning to do is a special promotion to encourage people to patronize local restaurants, support them as they see fit, either dining in or taking out. We're calling it Fairfield Eats. It'll run from October 19th through November 1st. And for those that take a picture of a receipt showing proof that they visited a local restaurant during that time and submit that through our website portal on Experience Fairfield, you'll be entered into a prize drawing to win a gift card good for a future visit at one of these great participating restaurants. So, again, it's just a way to hopefully drive a little bit of traffic. I think, Kevin, I agree with you. A lot of the restaurants, the outdoor dining, and the great weather we've had over the last several months has been really a godsend for a lot of these restaurants. But I do sense anxiety out there. So anything we can do to help support them and through this period, we're trying to do that. So this is what we came up with, pattern on program that's been done elsewhere. Just a little fun way to help people enjoy a great meal, but also maybe get a chance to win a prize for a future visit.
That's great, Mark. That's great. Thank you. All right. So if we don't have any other business, I'll want to take the opportunity to thank Mark, for organizing this, and certainly Gretchen for taking all the notes, and each of the members here and any guests for being a part of today's meeting. I will, at this time, have a motion, ask for a motion to close the meeting.
A second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, excellent. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again,
Thank
Mark.
you all. We're adjourned at 9:15.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, guys.
All right,
Take
thanks,
care.
everyone. Have a great week.
Bye-bye. You too.
Bye now.